Hello, Year 6. Welcome to the start of our spring unit, Healthy Bodies. This is our first lesson. So, very quickly though, let's start with some total recall. Read the statement. Evolution is the way that living things quickly change over time. Now, there's a mistake in that sentence. Can you pause the video and spot the mistake? So, hopefully, you notice this word here. It should have read, evolution is the way that living things gradually change over time. We know from our last unit, evolution is a very, very slow process. However, can you name an example that is the exception to this gradual change? Some of you may have come up with the idea that viruses, so microorganisms, can actually evolve very, very quickly. But predominantly, the vast majority of living things, evolution is a slow change over many, many years. So, can you get your science books, please, and write today's short date, the title, and WILF. Today's focus for learning, our learning power focus is independence. Now, we know it's a very strange way of learning, being at home, and you perhaps don't have the access to support like you would in a classroom. And that's why, particularly at home, you really need to use that learning power of independence and actually calling on other learning powers if you are struggling. So before we start today's lesson, a quick vocabulary check. It's going to be important to understand what vitamins and minerals are. Now, vitamins and minerals are substances that your body needs in very small amounts to work properly and stay healthy. So, for example, we have vitamin A. An example of a mineral is calcium. And we're going to learn more about vitamins and minerals throughout the lesson. So today we're going to find out how scientific ideas about food and diet were tested in the past and how this has contributed to our knowledge of a balanced diet. Today, we know that foods we should and shouldn't be eating to keep us healthy and to give us a balanced diet. However, people haven't always known how to eat healthily. Why do you think people in the past didn't know how to eat a healthy, balanced diet? Pause the video and have a think. So you may have come up with these ideas, such as many discoveries about diets hadn't been made yet by scientists, or they didn't have access to information like we do now. So we're going to look at two examples of in the past where the populations didn't know about eating healthily. So our first example is looking at sailors. In the past, sailors often died from a disease called scurvy. In fact, during the 18th century, more British sailors died from scurvy than they did in battle, and they had a lot of battles. Scurvy is caused by a lack of vitamin C in the diet. Sailors had to go for long periods without reaching land, and so they ate mainly salted meats and dried grains. Fresh fruits and vegetables couldn't be kept for long enough without going mouldy on the ships. And it wasn't until around the mid-18th century that some doctors started to link scurvy to a lack of fruit and vegetables, particularly citrus fruits such as lemon and lime. Another example about rich and poor babies. Now, in 18th century Paris, doctors became confused when more rich babies were dying than poor babies. And usually it was the poorer children in the past that had a higher mortality rate, death rate, than rich children as they had less food to eat. However, rich families were feeding their children on bread, butter, and boiled milk, whereas poorer families were feeding them on potatoes and gravy, which contained some vitamin C. When doctors started to realise that diet was the issue, they started feeding rich babies diets which contained potatoes, lemon juice, and fresh milk, and the mortality rate amongst rich children began to decrease. So if we look at what rich children were eating, bread, butter, boiled milk, very high in carbohydrates and fats, very low in lots of minerals and vitamins. They do contain some vitamins and minerals, but not as much as what you would find in other foods. It took doctors a lot longer to work out why sailors were dying of scurvy. Lots of doctors realised that it was the lack of fresh fruits and vegetables for long periods of time that caused the disease, but it was not until 1932 that the direct link between scurvy and vitamin C was discovered. James Lind came closest to finding this link in 1747 when he carried out the world's first known clinical trial. He was not the first to believe that citrus fruit cured scurvy, but he was the first to investigate this scientifically. Now, apologies if I'm reading too fast, hopefully I'm not, but remember the beauty of this is you can pause, rewind, and go over any information you need to go back over. Lind divided 12 sailors, so this was his clinical study, with scurvy into 6 groups and put them into separate rooms. Each group had the same diet, but each group was also given something to supplement, that means contribute extra, to their diet, such as cider, barley water, and citrus fruit. The sailors that were given fruit soon became healthy again. Even though Lind knew nothing of vitamins, he knew that citrus fruit, such as oranges, lemons, and limes, could cure scurvy. So, today we're aware that we need to eat a balanced diet which includes a variety of foods from different food groups. Now, you need to think back to perhaps some of your year 3 work where kind of these food groups were first introduced. Can you pause the video and think of any of these food groups? And can you go even further and name some examples of foods in those food groups and what they actually do for us? So well done if you came up with any of this. So, carbohydrates, they give us energy and can be found in foods such as bread, potatoes, and pasta. Proteins help our bodies to repair themselves. They're found in foods such as fish, meat, nuts, seeds, eggs, and cheese. Fats help store energy for our bodies. They are found in foods such as butter, cheese, nuts, and fried food. And fibre, really important to help us digest our foods and can be found in fruit and vegetables. Now, some of you may remember something called the Eat Well plate, where it shows a rough proportion of how much of each you should be eating. Now, the kind of idea is that you mostly fill your diet or that meal with carbohydrates, and then a small amount of protein, lots of fibre, and then a little amount of fat. Now, we need fats, but too many fats can lead to an unbalanced, unhealthy diet. And don't forget water, super important, because around 70% of our body mass is water. We lose water all the time and we need it to stay nice and healthy so our bodies can function properly. Now, thinking back and recalling your work in the past and just having heard that information, can you write down or think of a definition of a healthy diet? Very simple. Can you summarize it in one sentence? So, I would literally say drinking enough water and eating the right amount of foods from the different food groups, because remember, we want to be eating more foods such as fruit and vegetables than fats. Okay, I'm going to go through today's tasks individually for bronze first, then silver, then gold. Have a listen to all 3 and go with what you're feeling confident about. So today, bronze. You're going to use the scurvy information sheet, and in fact, bronze, silver, and gold, you will all be using the scurvy information sheet. It will be attached to the Wednesday work in Teams, and it looks like this. What is scurvy? What are the symptoms of scurvy? Who was James Lind? And James Lind clinical trial. Now, we've read and heard some information, but it goes into more detail here. And as I said, for bronze, silver, and gold, you will all need that sheet. And then bronze, in your books, copy the subheadings from the bronze sheet and write out the experiment as though you are James Lind, explaining what you are trying to find out, how the test will be carried out, what the results show, and what this means. So, bronze, just another reminder of what you need to do. Here are your subheadings, and if you use the scurvy information sheet to fill out that information. Silver. So again, using the scurvy information sheet, And just like bronze, copy the headings from the silver sheet and answer the questions about Lynn's experiment. It goes a step further because I want you to suggest other things that Lynn could have tested to come to a better understanding of scurvy. So under the bronze sheet, you'll find the silver sheet. Here are your questions. Can you answer those in your book, please? And then finally, we move to gold. Again, use the information sheet. This time you're designing another experiment to carry on from Lynn's research. You need to think about what Lynn might have wanted to find out next and how he might have gone about finding the answer. Again, use the gold sheet, subheadings, and fill out that information. Now, with bronze, silver, or gold, remember if you get to any of the questions and you're super stuck and perhaps you haven't got somebody there to help you quickly, or somebody on Teams hasn't got back to you soon enough, don't worry, just leave it. And if you've got time, come back to it. Don't stress about anything. So those are the tasks. Remember, rewind, listen to it again, listen to bronze, silver, and gold if you need to, and go for the one, push yourself, go for the one that is going to really challenge you in this lesson. So pause the video now have a go at that, and then come back later for the plenary. Okay, so well done for having a go at those questions. To finish, scurvy is a disease that still exists today, but is much less common than it used to be because we now know what causes it and how to prevent it. However, there are many other diseases that are caused by vitamin deficiencies, that means a lack of vitamins, such as rickets. Rickets is a condition that affects bone development in children. It is caused by a lack of vitamin D and calcium and can make bones soft and weak. Being deficient in any vitamin can cause health problems. Not getting enough vitamin A can lead to eye problems, including night blindness, that makes seeing in dim light very difficult. Vitamin B12 deficiencies cause sore and swollen tongues, as well as numbness and tingling in your fingers and toes. So hopefully one of the main things you've taken away from today's lesson is understanding that in order to make sure we stay fit and healthy, we need lots of vitamins and minerals. And we find lots of vitamins and minerals in things like fruits and vegetables. And to finish, what do you think we can do to ensure that we don't develop any diseases caused by vitamin deficiencies? Getting tongue-tied today saying vitamins. Eat a healthy and balanced diet. So if for tea tonight, your adult at home has got a big pile of broccoli on the side of your plate, eat it. It will make you strong, fit and healthy. Well done for today's lessons. I can't wait to see your work on the Teams chats. Have a brilliant rest of the day.